thing. We're gonna talk about all of this stuff, that this gun craze culture, and then on the other side of that, to think that you can just take the law into your own hands. Look, if somebody robbery is against the law, right? So they need to answer to the law. Let's be honest. I'm gonna put that out there too. You robbing, trying to take other people's stuff. You ain't got a right to take other people's stuff. At the same time, in French, if you're not in an imminent danger, why would you just shoot somebody like that? Let the law deal with them. You don't have to do that. Now, if somebody being violent towards you, that's a whole nother matter. We can
absolutely
talk about those things get conflated all the time. So I want them to hear us clearly, Francesca, because we ain't say, because I know some people can be violent in robbing people and try to kill them and hurt them. That happens all the damn time. But if the person is running away, God, we know you love the TV, let the law get them. You don't have to shoot nobody in the back. But damn it, y'all, people shouldn't be, don't rob folks, all right? Jesus, don't rob nobody. Let's go back to our comments. And oh man, maybe we can get one more quick segment in after that. We going to Lynn. Lynn, gotta give Nina credit for not smacking the smirk off that woman's face. Lynn, you better know it. Now, orange is a good color, but it ain't a good color behind bars. She wasn't worth it, okay? So, yeah. Woo-wee, I was hot to trot. I'm still hot every time I see that. And that I'm telling you, Francesca, that right there, that episode, that segment that I did on CNN, it's still out there. I mean, people still go crazy over that thing, and that happened in 2019, I believe. But yeah, I'm still hot about it. On Twitch, Spectre Phonic, I would not only enjoy being the target, I would not enjoy being the target of Nina's point. I know that's right. And then Master Chief Dragoness, go ahead, get him, Nina. That was one smug itch. You got that right, Master Chef Dragoness. You got that right. Yeah, smug indeed. And Jackal Dragon 1991, the look on her face was, oh shit. Hey, yeah, like I said, the producers came down after that segment, baby, because that whole set was on fire. Playing games with me like that. Jesus, Sachi, how much time we got left? 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Let us know. We had some technical difficulties, y'all. Let's go on and get into this Dominion and Fox. The short-lived Dominion lawsuit started and ended yesterday. That's right, Dominion and Fox News reached a $787.5 million settlement. Take a look at this.
Dominion's attorneys speaking to a crowd of reporters outside the courthouse.
The truth matters. Lies have consequences.
The truth matters and lies have consequences. Well, you know what? Fox News can afford that. So I'm not so sure that lies have consequences, but I understand what the attorney is saying. I ain't trying to rain on their parade, but Fox can afford this. They are really getting off. And Francesca, you know what they're getting off? They're getting off their hosts lied to people. Just flat out lied to people, now they're gonna get away with it. A trial was moments away from opening statements when the settlement was reached. Justin Nelson, the lead attorney for Dominion, said he hopes the settlement will restore faith in elections. Whatever. Now the most important part of the settlement is the lack of apology. Absent from the settlement details shared with the public was an apology or any admission the network had indeed defamed Dominion when it allowed baseless conspiracies to proliferate on air about the company's voting machines rigging the 2020 presidential election against Donald Trump. A statement from Fox about the agreement recognized the court's previous ruling that the claims Dominion had challenged in its defamation lawsuit were indeed without merit. Francesca, take it away in our
I mean, I'm disappointed because we don't see Tucker Carlson or Rupert Murdoch testifying, and that's too bad. And I'm also disappointed that we didn't get an admission of guilt. Fox News got off. I mean, they got off real easy. And look, I understand your Dominion lawsuit, your name has been completely tarnished. You're financially probably ruined because the die has been cast. And so they accepted, almost $1 billion. Okay, that's very easy for Fox News. But if they had gone this far, I say, why not take it a little bit farther, accept a little bit less? Let's go to trial. I want to see that trial.
Yeah, I wish they had went to trial, but anyway, they get off. Well, that is our time, folks. Hopefully tomorrow we won't have any technical difficulty, but I thank you all for hanging in there with us. Life happens, it does. But we're so glad that you were here with us, and extra glad that Francesca, the one and only, don't forget to catch her on the Bitchuation Room. I'm Nina Turner, and it's been a stone cold blast. You know what I want you to do about this time. I want you to keep the faith always, but marry that faith with some fight. Until next time.
Welcome, friends. Welcome, family. What's up, Pop? Welcome to the Watch List, you guys. It's a Big News Wednesday edition of the Watch List. Glad you guys could join me. There's a lot going on. We kind of jammed up the show with even more things. I think because yesterday I had a little bit too much to say. So I brought in a guest that's going to calm me down and probably take up all of the talk time. Her name is Miranda Scholl. She's a breakdown contributor and one of the favorites on the Watch List. Glad you could join us here. Also on your Twitches. She's bad gamer Wyatt, but she's actually good at these games. What's going on? How you feeling?
Well, if you wanted someone to calm you down, I was probably the wrong person to bring on the show, but I'll do my best.
No.
To be here.
I mean, we all know I can talk forever. So good to have you. Looking forward to all your thoughts here. There's tragedy. There's more assault. There's more gun violence. And there's a little bit of something else. Maybe we can lighten up slightly as we go into the back end of this, because as we know, things have been going down at Fox. Also between Elon Musk and one Tucker Carlson. That's later on. Let's start with some horrific updates. More of the same that we've been seeing ever since the middle of last week. Let's start here.
I'm Peyton Washington on Woodlands Elite Generals. Come tumble and stone with us at World's Fest this Saturday. See you there.
Very talented young lady there, Peyton Washington. She's a competitive cheerleader for this Texas competitive cheerleading group called Woodlands Elite Cheer. And she's the latest victim of gun violence, at least high-profile gun violence, as people are talking about throughout the country, for simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, kind of living in America, that whole thing. This is followed by Ralph Yarl, as we've heard, and also Kaylin Gillis, who are victims of gun violence. Sadly, Kaylin passed away from her injuries. So this particular case with Peyton Washington down in Texas, let's go to the Today Show as they give details of why it is she now has to deal with these same issues. Let's go.
According to NBC's affiliate KPRC, the shooting happened when a group of cheerleaders stopped at a grocery store, and one of the group accidentally tried to get into the wrong car, stopping after seeing someone else in the car. After the girl tried to apologize, the man began firing.
I just, halfway my window was down, he just threw his hands up and then he pulled out a gun. And then he just started shooting at all of us.
Overnight, Elgin police arrested and charged Pedro Tello Rodriguez Jr., who they say fired into a vehicle after an altercation in a grocery store parking lot. Authorities say one victim had serious injuries and was helicoptered to a hospital. A local gym owner says that was Peyton Washington, a young cheerleader well known in the community.
She's won every title there is to win in all-star cheerleading. She's literally a role model for the kids in this industry throughout the country. Everybody knows her.
Let's go to some more details of what has went down. As you saw there, it was another mistaken place. Before it was a couple of houses, now it was a mistaken car that has to deal with, that ended up in this type of violence. So that other victim throughout this, as she was speaking to the rest of her crew as they held their vigil, her name is Heather Roth. She was grazed in the leg by a bullet. That's what the news station reported. And she spoke out about the incident during a prayer vigil on Tuesday evening. She said, "I just saw a black figure in the passenger seat, and I just shut the door as fast as I could." Ross said that she went up to the vehicle thinking it was her car, as you guys saw. And when she noticed that it was a man in the passenger side, she ran away and found the right car. So what they were doing, they met up in this parking lot. She went back to her friends that were in the carpool car that they were in, which they took on this long trip back and forth to practice. So it was like around midnight back at home when this whole thing happened. She continued and said, "I see the guy get out of the passenger door, and I rolled my window down, and I was trying to apologize to him. And my window was halfway down. And he just threw his hands up and he pulled out a gun. And then he just started shooting at all of us." Elgin police arrested that gunman, as you guys saw. He's 25 years old, and there's Pedro Tello Rodriguez, talking about this altercation that happened. So what he's been charged with is deadly conduct. They've also said that could be increased. More charges could be coming, considering this just happened, Monday night, Tuesday morning, around middle of the night type of situation. You guys saw that Lynn Scherer, who's the manager at this elite cheer squad, she gave a couple more horrible details. And the reason I'm telling you all you guys this stuff is because, as we've seen before with Ralph Yarl and we saw with Kaylin Gillis, there's always these background things about these folks, and it makes it that much worse and that much more random that this happens to people literally just living their lives. So the manager here said Washington is doing well today after suffering from a ruptured spleen, which had to be removed, and then she has damage to her pancreas and diaphragm. This serious athlete now has to deal with these issues. Her stomach is not closed up yet, and they're keeping her on heavy antibiotics for at least 48 hours and hopefully fight off an infection. Once they're sure there's no infection, they will go back in and finish up any issues and close her up. She was literally born with one lung, also she said. So she, from the very beginning, as a baby, she wasn't even expected to survive, let alone excel in athletics. So she's already surpassed a lot of things already. So, Miranda, we've got a high-level athlete who's committed to Baylor University as well. She's a high schooler, so this is the second high schooler. And then the other victim was only 20 years old. Young folks having to deal with these types of things, and her friends and family all around them will forever then have to deal with this. Why again? Let's show the picture of the guy who shot her. Because he was afraid of some cheerleaders. Can we look at this last picture of the two cheerleaders, she and her friend? That's the friend who walked up to the car, and Peyton is the one that was inside the car, literally not knowing what had even happened. So that guy is afraid of these two and two others and just got to shooting. Is it really fear, or is it the itchy trigger finger?
It's definitely not fear. It's 100% not fear. And we've seen it with all of these shootings that have been happening recently, the two that you mentioned from yesterday that we discussed. I mean, it's not fear, it's gun culture is what it is. It's people who are so obsessed with having and owning guns and having their Second Amendment right, and they're so, not everyone who owns a gun, but this gun culture that a lot of people buy into, they're so ready. They're ready for someone to try them, or to even find an inkling of someone who might be trying them, because they're just so ready to shoot somebody. And I mean, you can't say she tried to open the car door, she immediately closed it, she rolled down her window to apologize. There's no threat. You can't say that you were threatened by her. You can't say the girl backing out of your driveway because she was lost and didn't know where she was going in New York. You can't say you were afraid of someone backing out of your driveway because they didn't know where they were, or someone knocking on your door looking for their brother or their twin brothers to take them home. There's no threat. It's the gun culture and people constantly just itching for a reason to shoot somebody else.
I'm trying to figure out at what point we can finally start imagining that. So, I'm sure people that are in support of things like this happening because they want to hold on tighter to their guns would say something like, well, you make these mistakes as part of the problem. In fact, even more explicitly, Charlie Kirk and actually elected representatives say, we're not going to do anything about it. As a matter of fact, we need these deaths. It just comes along with the territory. We're the United States of America. You just might die for sitting in the car and waiting for your friend to get into hers. And by the way, how many folks say you drive a Honda Civic? How many of those damn cars do you see all over the place? And maybe you walk up to a white Honda Civic that looks like a white Honda Civic because there's a million of them, and pull on the car door and walk away and apologize. That could end your life. I tweeted the other day, be careful pulling out your wallet when you pay for groceries, because normal movements are now seen as threatening movements. The things that we do in normal circumstances, who knows, you might have a gun. What if your shirt came out untucked and you're tucking it back in? Oh my God, you're reaching for a gun. Hey, no matter what it is you're doing, you just never see it coming.
And it can happen to anyone, anytime, anywhere. And everyone thinks, oh, that'll never happen to me. That'll never happen in my area or my town. It's a matter of when. It's not if. We have so much gun violence in this country. It is just a matter of when, and you can't go anywhere in public without being afraid anymore. We went to go see a play downtown. Someone was acting shifty, and I could not focus on the play that I paid to see the entire time. All I could focus on was where he was sitting and what angle I was at.
I position myself in movie theaters all the time. Been doing it for a decade. Okay, let's just jump to this next story, since we're talking about more violence, but at least this one's coming from police, the stuff we always see every other day. But there's teenagers involved here as well. Let's go.
Bro, I just doing it. Hey. I didn't do anything, bro. Bro, I didn't do anything, bro. I'm not resisting, bro. Put the phone down real quick. Hey. Relax. You can't take my phone. No, I'm going to put it right there.
That high schooler's name is Seth Palumbo, and he was snatched out of his car, as you can see, by police officers. Man, he really must have been doing something wrong. Or he was trying to help a friend. Same thing when it comes to seeing young folks as threats for sitting in their car, and in this case, making a wrong turn. Let's go to some details, because the father of the kid that was recording that whole thing had this to say. It was a bit of a lengthy post. We'll only point out the few poignant parts here. But he said his son ran out of gas on Thursday and then stalled out in the middle of the road. These are high schoolers. They were, he said, like a hop, skip, and a jump from their high school. Ran out of gas, asked his friend to show up. That friend, one of those friends, is the kid that was getting pulled out of the car. They got the gas can from him, decided to go to the gas station, and in making an illegal turn, the cops then encountered them. And suddenly it was on. He did point out, though, that as they were sitting there, they came out, 5 cops, guns already drawn, immediately already pointed at them, and they were ready for the fight. I guess maybe a murder, because I'm not sure where the fight really was. This whole thing happened. They fought with him. And when that cell phone camera went down, because one of the cops tried to calmly tell the kid, here, just sit it down, you could still hear the screams and the assaults coming from that kid as he's on the ground with him, fighting for his life. Because, again, guns were already out. This is one of the sadder parts about this. Palumbo was initially charged with assaulting a peace officer, but the judge found no probable cause. And, again, the father of the other teenager pointed out that the kid is 150, 55 pounds, something like that. But he was assaulting a police officer when his leg flew up as you body slammed him and accidentally hit you on the back or something like that. That's the way these types of charges work. So the other kid, his name is Christopher Willis Jr., and he was also charged. This is the kid that ran out of gas. Several HCSO deputies pulled Palumbo's car into a nearby parking lot, and the other teens quickly grabbed their cell phones. Those videos captured by Palumbo's passenger, Willis Jr., showed one deputy violently grabbing him and slamming him to the ground, as you then saw. They were both arrested and taken to jail then. Willis, his charge was a misdemeanor impeding roadway. That charge is active, but the family's attorney is ready to fight those charges as well. So, Miranda, you run out of gas. Some folks, this happens to them. You run out of gas, you're in the middle of the street, you're down there by your school, and you ask for some help. By the way, Willis called the non-emergency help number, not 911 version, called them and let them know what was going on. They said, call some friends for help. So he was following instructions from what he thought were responsible authorities. But I don't think they communicate with the muscle side of it.
This police culture is so similar to gun culture. It reminds me so much of our previous story because you can't tell me they were threatened. They didn't feel like they were in danger or threatened by these teenagers, these kids who ran out of gas. Yes, should you be more responsible and not run out of gas in the middle of the road? But they're teenagers. They're kids. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do stupid stuff. They're not going to realize they need to buy gas. And there is no excuse, absolutely no excuse for it to turn to violence, for you to drag that kid out of his car and body slam him to the ground. For what? For trying to help his friend put gas in his car? It's all about the culture that is subscribed to when it comes to the police, when it comes to guns and the Second Amendment. It's not about the actual, what the police are supposed to be doing. It's about the culture they subscribe to.
When they talk about, you guys want to defund the police and how dare you, hey, when next time you need an emergency, don't try calling the cops. It happens all the time. People call the cops, as, again, Willis did, and they told him what to do. He did it, and it still ended up this way. You need to be confronted with these types of situations. This is why we have to talk about this all the time. It's not just to sit here and bitch and complain about all this. It's to show you guys the reality of what happens in regular, everyday situations as we have this fantasy land thought of the way police activity really is. Sometimes it's perfectly fine, and other times it's like this. But you're willing to let this stuff go because of some kind of fear of the other, and you need the backing of your boys in blue to be a part of it. If this happened to your kid, how okay would you be with it? I listened to the whole audio, and as you hear the kid screaming, as they think he's some kind of a threat, you can't help but to hear the kid screaming for his parents, for his mother, and in concern for his life. And the fact that you just sit there and keep beating on him just shows the lack of heart and any kind of compassion you have. It's just out there for fights. Let's take this break, you guys. We have a lot going on. We'll get to a few of your comments on these first couple of depressing stories. But we do have Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson. A bit of comic relief, except for the people who actually take those too seriously. We got that, and we've got a Hitman site coming up as well, my favorite story of the day. We'll do that when we get back.
All right, well, the Young Turks special election day coverage dropping.
An amazing power panel.
Look at this panel. You want to talk about power?
Like a smart Destiny's Child.
We're all too strong.
We start a revolution. Yes, another one. Aren't you excited? Wow.
And then Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, everybody! Yay!
You know, this is where it started in a lot of ways.
Why is he lying? Because these are acts that you can commit with impunity.
Most of us are usually in boxer shorts underneath.
I went with the pants today.
This is the first ever power panel with Donald Trump as president.
We have elected the top Twitter troll in the country.
We have to stop pretending that race is not an issue in this country.
Now keep in mind, racism had gone away until Barack Obama brought it back.
That's right.
They want to protect life so much that they want to ensure that insurance companies don't cover your maternity care. You don't see a lot of news coverage in the mainstream media of the peaceful Black Lives Matter protests that happened throughout the country.
Black Americans are hurting. Minorities in this country are hurting.
We always talk about starting from the bottom up, but the problem is the bottom up is always the least amount of power. No one cares about them, and until someone actually cares about them, then we'll do something about it.
Please, for God's sake, America, understand, acknowledge, and work towards getting to a new reality where Black lives actually matter.
Watch this, you guys. I have Miranda Scholl with me today, and you guys have noticed. TYT members, Ian says, so happy to see Miranda again. We were just talking about this. Apparently, it's supposed to be a semi-regular thing. I'm not saying it. The people are saying it. Glad you're here with us. Jam says, I used to drive Lyft, so I have those Lyft decals on my car. I've had strangers try to hop in my car when I wasn't doing any rideshare work at all. You know how many of them I've shot and tried to kill? None of them. The country's insane. Every time I take, an Uber or anything, it's, they say check the license plates and all that stuff so you can make sure you're not going to get like kidnapped or something, or someone's posing to be your driver. I do it so that I don't get killed. Twitch, you guys. Miranda is Bad Gamer Wyatt over on Twitch for all you Twitchers. The Progressive Carpenter says, LOL, JR hates those Priuses. I was literally thinking about Priuses when I was talking about getting picked up by Uber. And Power on Reset says, replacing the middle finger and a verbal outburst with pulling the trigger of a gun, probably why I stay in town and don't travel. I suppose you're not in any towns around America because that's how it works. One more on YouTube. Harry Downs says, yay, Miranda, with green hearts, and also hey, JR. Of course.
Hello.
Let's let Miranda go ahead and shine a little bit more as we go to this annoying interview.
You stripped the New York Times of their badge, and then you called them diarrhea. You did. I'm just quoting you. You described their Twitter feed as diarrhea.
I said it was the Twitter equivalent of diarrhea.
Okay, it's not literally diarrhea, but
no, it's it's a metaphor.
It's so fun. Tucker Carlson, for some reason, interviewed Elon Musk. Actually, we know why, because it gets a lot of attention, and maybe people will continue to worship him for some reason. So they probably had a bit of a battle back and forth of who could be the biggest a-hole possible, and I think the jury is still out. But still, We'll let you guys decide. There's more going on here because as he was chumming up, he's talking about this whole thing with Twitter and how great but not so great it's going, I guess, specifically for the people that he fires.
What percentage of your staff did you fire at Twitter? One of the great business stories of the year.
I think we're about 20% of the original size.
So 80% left.
Yes.
So
I mean, a lot of people voluntarily.
Sure. But it's 80% are gone from the day you took over.
That's correct. Yes.
So how do you run the company with only 20% of the staff?
It turns out you don't need that many people to run Twitter.
But 80%? That's a lot.
Yes. I mean, if you're not trying to run some sort of glorified activist organization and you're not care that much about censorship, then you can really let go of a lot of people, it turns out.
I'm looking for the punchline. But apparently, good businessmen live to just fire people. I guess that's how businessmen work, or is it just a wannabe Donald Trump? You know how great he's been at business. They're still laughing and talking about people let go for much of no reason. Let's let them continue.
How many others, without naming names, but how many, I had dinner with somebody who runs a big company recently who said, I'm really inspired by Elon. And I said, the free speech stuff? He goes, no, the firing the staff stuff.
I want you guys to pause here for a second and realize they think conducting an interview and then airing it of two rich guys laughing and joking about people losing their jobs based off of little to nothing, and then going, I was talking to another business friend who says, I can't wait to do that too. And they expect people to then go, oh, these guys are great. They're totally on my side. In fact, those are the type of people that I should listen to and believe their perspectives on things because that'll help my life out. In reality, it's a couple of a-holes laughing, literally openly laughing. It's gotten to this point now. It used to be like images that people have in their heads of rich guys in smoke-filled back rooms laughing and joking about how they're screwing people over and laughing about it. They're doing this on TV now, and they expect you to laugh along with them. So if you are, you're the sucker. I'm just putting, in case you guys don't know yet, you're the sucker. You're the target. You're being fooled. They're siphoning everything out of you, and they're laughing at you about it. So when they talk about low unemployment and all these lazy people off the dime of the American people and all that stuff that they say, they don't care. What they're doing is laughing at you. You laughing with them? As you go, man, I can't afford my rent. Look at these high prices of groceries. Do you see what's happening with gas? Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk are laughing at you. There's more going on, but first thoughts on this, Miranda.
So you know how the first time you ever watched The Hunger Games and you saw Caesar Flickerman and you were so angry at the way he conducted his interviews because it was so transparent that he was just a mouthpiece for the government? That's how I feel watching these two talk to each other and then air it and expect everyone to just agree with them about it. It is so incredibly frustrating, and I can't get the time back that I spent watching it, which is also very frustrating. But yeah, for them to make jokes about laying 80% of a workforce off, ha ha ha, they don't have a job now and I'm better for it, and then to air it to basically the same people and expect you to be like, ha ha, yeah, got him, got me. It's unbelievable how anyone falls for it and follows them and believes in what they say, and they're so somehow good at Stockholm syndroming all of their viewers. And it's so transparent, except for the people who are so soaked into it.
People are watching what's going on in, I think, France, where all these, the uprising of workers and everything, and they go, how come that doesn't happen in America? This is why, because you'll see people do things like that and go, yes, totally against me. So as I talked about, we listen to people's perspectives strictly because they have some cash in their bank accounts. And then they actually have conversations about birth rates and sex, and they expect you to believe that too. I had to watch it, so now you do too.
And if you look at the history of civilizations, the rise and fall of the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Sumerians, Rome, and I think we just want to make sure that we have civilization go onward and upward. And that's, for example, why I'm concerned about decreasing birth rates and the fact that, for example, Japan had twice as many deaths last year as births. There's the old question of will civilization end with a bang or a whimper? Well, it's currently trying to end with a whimper in adult diapers.
Yes.
Which is depressing as hell.
The most depressing.
I mean, seriously, yeah.
War is less depressing.
Yeah, I'd rather go out with a bang.
Yeah, and then with your shoes on.
Yeah.
Not with your
more
diaper
exciting.
on. Yeah.
Which one of these guys and Elon's kids and Tucker's kids you think are signed up for this war that they're saying they'd rather go out with a bang in rather than the whimper? And do you really think they give a damn about birth rates? Because, there's a shortage of humans on this planet. And, our resources are just overabundant and there's so many folks. And we just got to get our birth rates up. I wonder which kind of birth rates he's talking about. When people like to talk about getting birth rates up, who could he possibly be talking about and why? And number 3, why the hell are we listening to Elon Musk telling us about birth rates as he does this? Here's a compilation of the laughter that comes from these two. Maybe you guys can guess which one of these is the most annoying person on the planet.
You did. I'm just. Yeah. And then,
exciting.
Yeah.
It's no longer parody, Miranda. It's no longer parody. We would laugh and act like we're these people with a monocle on and laughing at everyone all the time, and it's like a cartoon. It's real life now.
You can't tell the difference between like satire and real life anymore. There is no difference. It's like when you see a headline and you have to double check to make sure it's not from The Onion or if it's from a regular news source, because everything is just so ridiculous now, and everything is just so, they're just saying everything out loud now that they wouldn't say out loud before, that you have to double check that it's not parody and someone making fun of them. Yeah, they're absolutely just laughing about birth rates and absolutely don't care about birth rates, don't care about what happens to those babies after they're born, don't care about all the kids in the foster system, don't care about, giving the kids lunches at schools, giving daycare so the parents can go back to work. They just care about birth rates. 1, it's something they can talk about, and 2, it's definitely a way to just control women.
That's definitely the other part of it. But then maybe even add it to this workforce of folks that they can have work for them. Because, they've already said, we're not looking to pay anyone, and we're also definitely not looking for people to keep their jobs, because the best business plan of the year or business decision of the year, Tucker said, was to fire more people. They've drawn the lines of division. Which side do you plan to be on? Because they're definitely not on yours. Let's go ahead and jump to this next story, guys. Probably my favorite of the day, because I'm not sure. Maybe there's a problem with our employment because sites like this and people like this are trying to get a gig being a hitman. Watch.
A Tennessee Air National Guardsman has been arrested and charged after allegedly trying to get a job as a hitman. And the website he tried using, rentahitman.com. The site boasts glowing testimonials, plus a quick and easy hitman job application page to join one of the, quote, world's best problem resolution organizations. But the site is all a parody, apparently lost on 21-year-old Josiah Ernesto Garcia. According to the criminal complaint, in early February, Garcia submitted a resume and identification documents saying he was, quote, an expert marksman and earned the nickname Reaper. Just days later, the complaint says Garcia sent another email to the rentahitman.com site, writing, quote, I'm looking for a job that pays well related to my military experience, shooting and killing the marked target, so I can support my kid on the way, adding, put me in, coach.
I'm not sure how much more ironic this could possibly get. But apparently, Josiah Garcia fell for rentahitman.com. And no, I did not miss the most ironic part about this whole thing was I'm looking for a job. I'm good at killing people so I can bring my new child into the world. No, it doesn't have to make any sense, especially since this is one of the images on the site that talks about how they can be protected because of HIPAA. You know what HIPAA stands? HIPAA stands for Hitman Information Privacy and Protection Act of 1964. Just toss that year in there, just in case folks want to know. They can look these things up and see if hitmen are protected under the law. But these testimonials on the site, if the HIPAA didn't get you, maybe the testimonials would have convinced you of this fakeness of this site. Laura S. Arizona says, I caught my husband cheating with the babysitter. How basic of a story is that? And our relationship was terminated after a free public relations consultation. I'm single again and looking to mingle. Now look at the name. Thanks, Guido, and Rent a Hitman. Come on, bro. Come on. So after seeing all that stuff, Garcia he was persistent, by the way. He's one of these guys who'd be like, you know what? Don't take a no for an answer. Go get that job. So he's persistent and kept asking, kept submitting information about what it is, his credentials for this job. But the FBI then sent an undercover agent once this fake site notified them, and he got more information. Let's watch.
Court documents go on to say when he was asked if he was comfortable with taking fingers or ears as trophies or performing torture at a client's request, his response was, "If it's possible and in my means to do so, I'm more than capable." The complaint alleges the undercover agent gave Garcia multiple chances to walk away. The complaint also alleges Garcia agreed to assassinate a mark for $5,000, receiving half of the money and asking if he needed to take a photo of the dead body as proof that the job was complete. At that point, FBI agents arrested Garcia. He's now charged with the use of interstate commerce facilities in the commission of a murder for hire.
Don't forget, this guy's former military, and he talked about his military training that could lead him to then being a hitman-style killer. And if you ask yourself the same question that I asked, wait, what is this site, though? Who are these people running it? And why aren't they arrested? The site was originally created in 2005 to advertise for a cybersecurity company that never took off, but it received a lot of inquiries over the years about murder for hire services. Eventually, the site administrator turned it into a parody site with fake testimonials and an intake form to request services and an application form to become a hired killer. Still, I'm not sure if he'd get any trouble for that. But lastly, Garcia told the agents, the FBI agents that busted him, that he didn't intend to go through with the contract killing, and he said he just received a job offer at some Nashville medical center, and he was going to take that job instead. One more time. This guy says, I'm a proficient killer. They called me Reaper. I learned how to kill people cleanly and easily. I'll take ears, arms, and fingers and whatever other trophies you would like to prove the killing. But I'm going to take a job at a medical center instead, where I'm going to help save people's lives. Come on, bro. Come on.
There is so much to focus on in this story. It's difficult to know where to start.
My bad.
And I would like to start with the intelligence of thinking that you can just go on Google and find rentahitman.com and that's available and a real site that you can use, and definitely not something you get off the dark web. So kudos to him for thinking you could he just tried. He definitely went to his web browser and typed in rentahitman.com. And when it came up, he was like, oh, great, the first try. So kudos to him for that. Yeah, taking a job at a medical center after you've described yourself as a Reaper who is very good at killing people, which you learned in the military. I definitely want you assisting me in a medical facility, whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they hired him as a hitman, whatever they need, possibly. I guess he wanted a more exciting job than that, but got a little scared and decided he wanted to take a nice, comfy job instead. And I don't know how much, hitmen charge for murder, but $5,000 seems a little small. Seems like a little on the small side. Man, he just wanted to kill. He didn't care how, he wasn't going to negotiate the price. He was just excited to have this, new job for himself.
Was he desensitized? I'm going to ask the question. In the military, desensitized to killing because his nickname is the Reaper now. And I'm going to dig a little deeper with this whole pregnancy thing. I already talked about the irony of him killing, but then he wants to bring in a new life. Who is his wife or girlfriend or whoever that's carrying his child? She's probably going to look up and say, wait a second, who am I with? There's so many things you have to wonder who it is that you've actually gotten involved with. And if he's now trying to make some hitman money to support your family, it's a little too worrisome to know about. But I'm at least glad he came off the streets. I feel like there's one of those to catch a predator type of situations. Maybe they'll do with hitmen as well. It's sad. Let's go to the Fight Club in schools.
I do not want this on record. Beatriz Martinez says it was like a fight club in class.
I was devastated. I was like, I couldn't watch the full video.
Her daughter capturing it on camera.
I had to stop it multiple times because I didn't think it was real. I said, this must be a prank. This is not real.
Mesquite ISD says a substitute teacher allowed students to fight each other Wednesday afternoon at Kimbrough Middle School. Witnesses say she even pushed desks aside to create a space for the 12 and 13-year-olds to brawl. Some left the classroom bleeding.
And then this lady, she actually making them fight.
The district confirms the teacher outlined rules for the students to follow and even instructed one to keep watch at the door while fights took place.
I need y'all to be quiet though, because that door's open.
Substitute teachers usually get run out of the classroom or overrun by unruly children. This one just let them fight. So she's also been fired, arrested for setting up this whole thing. These were like 11, 12, 13-year-olds, I suppose, around middle school. They were allowed to fight in the middle of the classroom. Here's our culprit. She's 24 years old. Her name is Natalie Garcia. 4 counts of child endangerment is what she's charged with. And she did turn herself in, at least. Apparently, she was sick of hearing them argue and said, let's just go ahead and get to it. But by the way, the school, after finding her out, busting her for this whole thing, getting rid of her, they had to have some explaining to do to maybe some of the other parents. We saw one there that had to deal with it, that her kid was recording the whole thing. But they at least want to let everyone know they're taking this very seriously and have a very personal message. Watch.
KMS and MISD share the disgust you must feel about these events.
Even if they're short-staffed, take extra precautions.
Was that like the robot talking from, I think it's the TikTok videos? You tell me, Miranda, like TikTok or one of them, Instagram, like, people typing anything they want.
I didn't even realize it was automated until I didn't realize that the message he sent parents, they couldn't even be bothered to have a real person explain what was going on. They sent an automated message to the parents, and that is unbelievably wild and lazy. But we talk about, we have to protect the kids. We're grooming the kids and the drag queens. We literally have covered every single story where kids are in unbelievable amounts of danger. Not one of them is about a drag queen, but that's happening in school. You have teachers putting them in danger. I cannot believe this teacher decided that she was bored. She was just going to have the kids fight it out till she got bored of that, and then she was just going to go turn herself in. I mean, that's somehow not crazy and not being screamed about on, conservative media. Mm-hmm. How is that not happening?
Well, you've reminded me of one big point that crossed my mind when I first saw this. There's, I was going to say serious lawmakers, unserious lawmakers that pose as serious lawmakers that are proposing that teachers should have guns in classrooms so they can protect students and themselves from would-be gunmen. Would they hand this teacher a gun with children around them because she's letting them fight? Maybe she'd hand over the gun to one of them and allow them to have a bit of a duel, because that's fine. We're going to go to the last video of how she tried to hide this whole thing, but let's go to the last graphic first, because this was the LinkedIn job posting here. Maybe this will give us some clue as to why this particular person got this job, and then why also the school doesn't seem to be too hands-on with it. But you can be part-time and no degree mentioned. But that's the sad part. And this isn't even a shot at her or the teachers. This is the state of teaching in the country. This is how much we care about it. This is how much we invest in it. And then we end up with situations like this, kids getting murdered in schools, and we're like, just give these same folks guns that we don't trust at all. But this is her trying to hide the fact. She at least had this plan in place. Watch that.
Nobody wants to fight. Not joking. I'll take your phone to the office. What I need you to do is stand by that door and hold it in case somebody comes in. This is not a joke. Be quiet.
Ready?
Jesus, man. No, that could end so much worse. Like, I was kind of chuckling about this, but when you see that fight start to begin, it's no joke. Some kid getting hit in his face, and imagine.
They will literally hire anybody and do anything in order to not pay teachers and give them benefits. They will literally just pick anybody up with no degree, no proof of anything.
And this won't be an outrageous story because those aren't the connected and rich people's kids that are involved in these situations. Mm-hmm. As I'm trying to remember his name now, after the shooting happened out in Tennessee at that elementary school, and that legislator said, we're not going to do anything. And they asked about his kid. Oh, we homeschool our kid. What are you talking about? We're not going to let our kid be with the normies out there getting shot at and beat up. What's the matter with you? You know who I am? It's the same energy from the Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk interview. Start paying attention. Let's pay attention to this. This is kind of funny, even though it's a couple of deplorable people fighting. Let's watch.
You know what, Marjorie, you stupid bitch? It's on site. I declare war on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Metaphorically, not personally. You stupid bitch. You're ugly. You wear highlights in your hair, and you're stupid, and we hate you. Yo, get this. You see her tweet? Check, yo, watch this. She retweeted an article from Daily Beast trying to smear me. How low can this woman go? She's best friends with pedophile Jew Milo Yiannopoulos, who's living in her campaign house with his black husband. And now apparently he's writing her tweets. So, you know what? I was going to drop it. I was going to let it go. But now it's on site.
And now it's on site, says Nick Fuentes. I'm not sure if he knows what that means. But still, he's beefing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Expletives, name calling in true Nick Fuentes form. These two were buddies around last year, right? This whole thing happened and went down. So this is what's going for the second day in a row. Fighting. Let's go. Oh, Miranda, they fighting. This is what they're fighting over. This is what Marge tweeted, and we talked about yesterday for a second. This is disgusting textbook predation of underage boys, and Nick Fuentes was in on it. Nick knew. That's what triggered Nick Fuentes, because she's his old buddy. Of course, they were talking about Ali Alexander and his revelations about soliciting private pictures from teenage boys. You guys heard that story. So now Fuentes is upset that his name has now been brought into it, specifically because he was a part of their little crew. He continued with his rant, though. Let's watch more.
I'm going to Northwest Georgia. We're buying ads. We're putting up a website. I don't care what the outcome is. Every voter in Northwest Georgia is going to know this woman hired a pedophile Jew named Milo. We're putting it on the ad. We're putting it on the website. We're putting it on the billboard. It's on site. Marjorie Greene, #1 enemy of the America First movement. You heard it here first. She should have no right to come at me. And honestly, I may even consider a lawsuit for her to insinuate that I'm like covering up for a pedophile. I mean, that's just straight up defamation. So I am considering a lawsuit, and I'm talking to people to see if I could put some money together for that, because I know a lot of people had put some money up to see this wench go down.
The fighting is just it's a little bit too tasty here, Miranda. Whose side are you on?
Choose your fighter. Oh God, I lose either way. I can't choose either one of them. It's a loss for me no matter who I choose. I love his insults. I think "you're ugly and you have highlights" is very creative, and there's no coming back. I mean, that's just straight for the jugular with that one. Oh man, it is so fascinating for me to watch. It's like watching an experiment, to watch Republican infighting. They're best friends one moment and they're at each other's throats the next, and they're vicious. And it is so interesting to watch. Although I think he's not very good at it, at the fighting part. But boy, he gave it his best effort.
It's on site, Miranda.
I don't think he knows what that means.
I really
We're taking out billboards. It's on site. Oh, you mean literally physically on site? Oh, I got you.
Yo, it's whatever secrets are happening and being swirled around. Ali Alexander was talking about some crimes I'm going to uncover and expose, which I think he said about other folks before. Now Nick Fuentes has secrets that he's going to expose. Next, I guess we got Marjorie Taylor Greene going to tell some other secrets. They've got so many secrets, but the one thing they don't understand is if you keep telling us that you have all these secrets, criminal secrets, pedophile secrets, murderous secrets, you've been holding all these criminal secrets about someone else for however long. That makes you a part of it. Just, kind of keeping those secrets that you're going to now expose them and get them arrested over. You're the problem. I really wanted to see what you guys said. So I asked them for some of y'all's responses to this, because this was one of the favorite ones of today. Telepanda on Twitch says, wow, he sounds really triggered. He kind of always does. Viral 1101, I like this one. Nazi on Nazi crime. Where are the Nazi fathers? I think that's the first problem. The Nazi fathers were in the house teaching Nazism. Muad'Dib 69 says he must have some bad secrets We're thinking the same way, my man. Or my lady, I have no idea. Groove Dragon, Mad Trader Green versus Sick Fuentes. Which one is Whitey Supreme? Jeez, we're getting personal here. And one more, you guys, over on YouTube Super Chat. Matthias Giovanni, thank you. And yet, this is about the Tucker Carlson story. And yet, they think Tucker and Republicans are the working man's representatives. It's how they've convinced enough of these folks to continue following them. Did I say that Republicans are fighting? Because there's more that are fighting. Let's go. Michigan Republicans are fighting. Oh, they are fighting. But these are the subordinates. The people that are on the top are the ones that have created this entire situation, because power-hungry people that are all trapped in one room, and as you'll find out, are drinking their asses off, they might get into fights. This happened between Republican Secretary Melissa Palis and Republican Chair Kelly Sackett. These are the two of them. Let's look at this image there where they were, as you can see in the left hand of the lady on the right, she's got a drink. And it's pretty much damn empty. I think all that's left is ice when you heard from the slurring of the words, which you'll see here. Let's watch this whole fight.
How many letters you sent out? 22? How many letters you sent out? 22? By the power invested in me? Is that what you said? By the power invested in me?
Let's talk about Macomb County and all.
You're all going to jail. You're all going to go down. All of you are going down. You're all the power invested in me?
Are you an attorney?
By the power invested in me? You are no longer a delegate? Is that what you said? By the power invested in me, you're no longer a delegate? Get your shit out of here.
Now we got a problem. Now we got a problem. Move along. Move along. Move along.
By the power vested in me. By the power vested in me. You ever know some people are drunk, they repeat the same line that they think is just a nice hook. By the power vested in me. So they were apparently having a meeting, and this turned into a fight because they're serious people when it comes to local politics up there in Michigan. This comes after this escalation is happening between this new state chair, Christina Caramo, in case you guys remember her, she's out there, and former ally Matthew DePerno. So there used to be buddies, and now it's a power struggle going on, and these two are subordinates of the two, and they don't really like how each other is talking about their good guy that oversees them. So these women who represent competing factions of the Michigan Republican Party appear to be arguing over an alleged move by Sackett to purge Caramo loyalists from the Kalamazoo Republican Party. Pellis is a Caramo sycophant who was there, it appears, to intentionally harass, is what Sackett said. And an attorney who ran against Caramo for state party chair is now defending the Kalamazoo Republican in a lawsuit filed by two other women forced from the county party's executive committee. I guess long story short, they're fighting over power. And once they see other folks are starting to oust and jostle for positions, we have to start fighting. They also said there's big internal disputes within the party right now, and Caramo has done nothing to bring the party together. I don't think that's what she's concerning herself with. So this Friday night altercation also appeared to stem from the Kalamazoo feud that was referenced by Pellis, who was part of a Macomb Republican leadership team that backed Caramo for state chair at the February convention. I know it sounds confusing. All the names are still getting jumbled around and tossed between the battle lines going on. But the one, just one thing you have to remember as you see this fight, I almost want to watch it again. They're all searching for more power. Have you heard? Does this look like folks that are looking to represent people, maybe make sure that people's lives are a little bit better? What they're looking for is more power, and then drinks, apparently. Miranda.
I can't believe we've all been cursed to live in this circus timeline where representatives behave the way they behave and seek power, especially in the way that they're seeking power, what do you think they're going to do once they get the power? If the way they seek power is any show at all, what are they going to do when they have the power to wield? I mean, I can't believe that we have people pretending to be leaders and pretending to represent the people when they don't represent even good civil behavior. And I think that I love the way that they fight. It's just she smacks her phone down, but then to just palm her face and to just shove it, to just mush her face down. She kept saying, "By the power of vested in me," and she wasn't listening, so she really had to get her attention.
The power vested in me? I think that's the one who was saying the power vested in me. I shall mush your face, which, by the way, punches are pretty severe on folks. Slaps seem to be about similar type of pain, but then it's like more disrespectful. A mush is like a little bit of both. And you got to do something now, bro. Now you got to do something. Apparently it's to stand up and continue slurring your words. No words get slurred in this. I'm so vastly interested in this type of talk. We talked Elon Musk with talking about AI, also in his interview with Tucker Carlson. Here's it really at work. And this report shows how AI is really assisting students, specifically at this fabulous world-class university. Let's watch this.
At the University of Southern California, a new kind of test.
It is continuous autocomplete.
Dr. Karen North asking her students to write an essay themselves.
Public speaking can be difficult, but here are some good practices that can help keep you on track and have a good public speech.
And to use an artificial intelligence program that writes the essay in seconds.
Public speaking is a crucial skill that can make or break one's personal and professional success.
Can you tell which is which? That question growing more critical by the day as AI programs become more prevalent.
It's pretty much everywhere you look, like in the classrooms, outside of the classrooms.
All raising the prospect that students may not be hitting the books to get that better grade, but hitting AI programs like ChatGPT and making it hard for teachers to tell the difference.
So you're thinking going all the way back
For sure, I'm going to.
pen and paper.
Yep. You're going to take a test. I'm going to hand out the test. Everybody take out a pen. Close your computers.
I think I'm kind of old school because I like this professor's approach here. Turnitin.com is pointing out some of these things that many folks are using. AI programs and apps to go ahead and write off their essays in a matter of seconds. Homework done. Time to have some Bud Light. I mean, time to throw out some Bud Lights. Either way it goes, ChatGPT is one of those sources that many students are using, and they're going to keep explaining how this whole thing works and if it's really going to continue to work. Let's watch.
Now tech company Turnitin, known for software that detects plagiarism, has developed a new program to detect AI.
Are you using AI to help detect AI?
Absolutely. Our detector itself is a piece of AI trained on data that we have. It's developed using our over 20 years of expertise in understanding student writing.
But how accurate is it? Well, Dr. North put it to the test. To generate an essay using AI, students simply go to a program like ChatGPT and type in a simple prompt, like write an essay about crisis communications in the digital age, and then in seconds, it spits out an essay.
First step in crisis communication is to have a plan in place before the crisis occurs.
Students can take that entire essay, hand it in, or use portions or ideas that come from it. For this test, those whole essays are then uploaded to Turnitin.
So Turnitin is the group that's finding these things and detecting whether or not sources like ChatGPT are the ones that are using it, and maybe some of these teachers can actually see it work or even bust some of these kids that appear to be cheating when it comes to this. Or it could be busting the kids that are writing it themselves. Yeah, that's a problem too. There's this last aspect of this story.
So many of them are 100% AI.
Did Turnitin catch all of the AI-generated responses?
We were sort of shocked. It did catch a lot.
But some did slip through.
There's one kid who had a 100% AI-generated document, and it flagged him as 3% AI.
And this essay also got a flag.
First of all, know your audience because you should be able to speak to the age, demographic, and interests of your audience. Next, being nervous is normal.
Except that was an original essay written without ChatGPT.
Are you offended?
Yes. I'm super offended that it thinks I'm an AI.
What scares you the most, AI or AI detectors?
When somebody who didn't cheat is identified as cheating, that's catastrophic.
But Turnitin says a flag should lead to conversation, not punishment.
Don't lie, Miranda. Would you have used this back in school?
Hey, I might have been tempted. I may have been tempted. No. No, I think this is a really fascinating story, and I've been fascinated by AI creating things in ChatGPT for the past couple of months. And I think that as far as the educational system, it shows a symptom of a much larger problem, and it shows how not, in 100% of cases, some students do cheat because, they're lazy and they want to go have fun, whatever. But I think it shows that we have put a lot of pressure on students, especially at a very young age. And it's all about the grade. And it's about they have, 2 hours of this class homework and they have 2 hours of that class homework and an hour of this class's homework. And then they have zero time outside of school for anything else other than just doing schoolwork. And it's all about getting the grade. It's all about for their future. They have to get into good college. They have to get good grades. They have to start a career. And if they don't do that, then it's just, well, I guess your future is going to suck. And so I think that resorting to ChatGPT to do some of this stuff for them or to give them ideas or to write papers for them so they have time for other things is a symptom of a much larger problem and how our educational system is actually structured.
I'm so mad you said that. I was
Is
so
that what
ready.
you were going to say?
No, I was on the opposite, and what you said makes sense. And I don't like when my mind gets changed because I'm sure of the things that I think about. Again, I started saying I like this professor's approach, but like, no, you guys are going to write this stuff down. We're going to pen to paper, throw out all that stuff. And some of the things that actually happened is we progressed. Back in the day before those calculators and stuff, they had to do the stuff on paper. Mm-hmm. And people that were actually, computers were humans, computers. But, so in this case, sometimes we move along, but people aren't learning anything. There has to be some kind of middle ground here. And maybe this next generation of folks, as things assist you technologically, that's just where we've gone. And people just learn fewer things. I don't know when that's going to implement itself, but I don't want to see that dumbed down world because we've been on that track for some time. So I guess you're right, Miranda. What a way to end the show. You're right.
I'm right.
Kind of. Thanks for joining me again. You can catch Miranda everywhere. Also on Twitch, again, Bad Gamer Wyatt. I'm gonna go check out what you guys do over there. Thank you guys for joining me as well. Up next, you have the Young Turks. Anna Kasparian leads the first hour on a solo tip, and it's joined by John Iderola for the second hour. Go check them out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.